Hi, folks. Bart Tercio, Director of Congregational Ministries at Providence Presbyterian Church. I just want to share with you the latest on Bulletin design. This was the older Bulletin. This was the Bulletin, basically, I would say this Bulletin started around the 1950s, the Eisenhower years. What classically was always put on was the church building, and the order of worship would go in, and then all the events and contact information would be in the back. We moved to this newer flyer, and this is again Providence Presbyterian Church in Gastonia, North Carolina. But what we did, instead of it's really not about the building, because when you see the biblical concept for church, the people are the church. But what is on here is now the vision statement. The vision statement, which is Christ-centered, gospel-driven, mission-focused. Basically taken from the New Testament, how when Christ came and he called 12, trained, sent. Called 72, trained, sent. You see the church getting empowered in the book of Acts. And they're sent basically with the key message. It's all about Jesus, his life, death, and resurrection. It's all about the gospel and the gospel alone, the life, death, and resurrection, the application of Christ's merit to ourselves, his perfect obedience, his death on the cross, and his resurrection applied to the sinner who repents and puts their faith in his sacrifice. A transformation begins. God regenerates you and conforms you. So what you have there, that gospel comes with power. And finally, the mission focused. The only reason why a church exists is to make Christ known by the gospel message. And that's what we wanted to bring out in this new flyer. Also, it introduces people who are unaware of, well, what is a Presbyterian church? Who are we? And what are we about? And we're going to go over several short 5-minute videos on what each step is, in this flyer. And as we do that, our hope is people will understand why we worship, how we worship, who we are, and really what we're about. And that's important because as a Presbyterian church, one of the first things we believe and maintain is that there is an order of worship that God gives us through the scripture, an order of worship that we basically have maintained no matter what the flyer or bulletin looks like. This goes all the way back to the Reformation, our order of worship. And the Reformation, their foundation in ordering worship was, what does God say? How does he ordain worship? And we basically downloaded the concept and put it in here. That's why when you go to a biblically based Presbyterian church, you're going to basically see the outline of worship is the same, and it goes back 500-600 years. God has a reason for that. God ordains the way he wants to be worshiped. And we at Providence Presbyterian Church in Gastonia, North Carolina, are maintaining that worship. So stay tuned for the follow-up on what the contents are, and you'll be blessed by this. I'm sure of that. Thank you very much. Have a good week.